Welcome to the Nutrition That Really Works podcast. The podcast that embraces Hippocrates' quote, "Let food be thy medicine." Today you're going to learn some cutting-edge information about how to achieve and maintain your great health as we answer your nutrition and health-related questions. Commentators are not medical doctors, and no medical claims are being stated, and the information presented is for personal research and investigational purposes only. This information has not been evaluated by Health Canada, the FDA, the FTC, the USDA, and is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease. This program does not represent Premier Research Labs, USA. Hi everybody, welcome to Nutrition That Really Works. I'm your nutrition expert, Brian Gangle from bgangel.com. Welcome to today's episode. Hey, if you're new to Nutrition That Really Works, make sure you hit that notification bell so that you can get notified when a new episode drops. And of course, if you would kindly hit that subscribe button, and that really helps us out here on the channel. If you're an existing listener, welcome back. We're glad that you could take time out of your busy schedule to join us, and welcome to Season 3 of the Nutrition That Really Works podcast. Hey, you know what? You got to get yourself out to one of our live events. Oh my goodness, for 2020, we have a whole slew of great events you can attend, and we're going to be kicking it off with our Health Coach on Fire. This is a gateway course opening the door for you to becoming a health coach and wellness advocate. These are people that guide their clients to achieving the goals of peak health and happiness. Health coaches often go on to doing one-on-one consulting, hosting workshops, creating online programs, starting their own cooking show, writing a book, partnering with other professionals, and so many other things. It's one of the fastest growing segments in the health industry, and we will open the door and get your feet wet at Health Coach on Fire, kicking off on February 4th, 2020. We have 4 classes. They're every Tuesday night, conveniently located in Markham, Ontario, Canada. And you get all the details at my website portal at bgangel.com. Also, our life frequency classes are back again this year, and they're starting on March 3rd for 5 weeks in a row, Tuesday nights at the Markham Hilton Suites and Conference Center. This is where we focus in on the understanding of how energy and electricity is at the heart of the healing process. We also spotlight unique modalities and new technologies that can aid you in increasing your human condition, namely vibration and energy flow through your body. And after these classes, you'll attract like-minded individuals. And if you're a practitioner, lots of new clients that are more open to achieving their wellness goals. Life frequency continuing education classes starting March 3rd. Our Vastu Energy Workshop, March 17th. And you can get details and tickets at eventbrite.com. Just key into the search menu, Vastu Energy Workshop. And of course, our big blockbuster event for 2020, it is the National Conference of Traditional Healing, and that is on April 30th, May 1, 2, and 3, 4 days this year, featuring the Legends of Health. And oh my goodness, do we have a blockbuster lineup. Colin Campbell, leader in the whole food plant-based movement and best-selling author of Whole in the China Study. Returning legends Brian and Anna Maria Clement from the Hippocrates Health Institute. Of course, we have the incredible Dr. Daryl Wolf. We have Ralph Moss from the Moss Reports, Dame Dr. Sheila McKenzie, Dr. Gerald Smith, Professor George Grant, Dr. Akbar Khan, Dr. Stanley Nye, Dr. Marcel Wolf, Mr. Tony Harkins, and of course, the incredible Andrea Donsky, international television personality, Dr. Tim Holton, Peter and Ursula Schnell from Lido's Light Crystals, and so many others. You're going to get your all-access tickets over at eventbrite.com. Just key into the search menu, Legends of Health, and we'll leave a link in the liner notes to this podcast episode. Tickets are on sale now, and they are selling very, very quickly. And your all-access ticket gets you into all of the lectures, all of the workshops, the Legends of Health main stage, our incredible vendor gardens, and so many other surprises we have for you. That's at the National Conference of Traditional Healing on April 30th, May 1, 2, and 3, 2020, a clear vision for the future, and that is taking place at Markham, Ontario, Canada. You want to get your tickets to this incredible event. Now, let's dive into today's episode all about healthy proteins. Now, first and foremost, I have to preface this one. This was one of the hardest episodes that I had to put together because for the longest time I was a living, organic, raw vegan, and I thought that was the way to go. And then later I started introducing animal protein back into my diet because in my early days when I was a young buck, I was part of the standard American diet, the SAD diet, and certainly my health did not go in the direction that I wanted to. So I had to make some big changes. And of course, for me, as you know, I always go a little bit too much on the extreme, and so I went to the extreme without doing my homework and my research. And definitely, vegan and vegetarian is an extremely healthy way to go, but definitely do it under the supervision of a nutritionist or your healthcare professional or a practitioner who really understands nutrition, because you can become deficient in certain key nutrients, vitamins, and minerals, and in particular is the vitamin B, vitamin D, vitamin C, vitamin A. You can become deficient in a lot of vitamins, and you know, you can't get sick until you're first nutritionally deficient. So you want to make sure you stay nutritionally efficient with healthy fats, healthy proteins, healthy carbs. We got all that. And there are so many diets to choose from. I mean, there's the keto diet and the South Beach diet and so many things out there. And for me, I decided to go whole food, plant-based. And I introduced a small amount of animal protein back into my diet, but really clean sources of protein, very dramatically different than what I normally thought. I now consume less than 5% of my total dietary caloric intake as animal protein. The majority of the constituent is either a wild-caught salmon, which is usually from Norway or Alaska, and I really like the culture and sensitivity to make sure that I'm not dealing with any heavy metals or any contaminants or pesticides. And then also I love the Colorado wild buffalo, very low in saturated fats, okay? But there are so many other vegetarian and vegan sources of protein, and I incorporate many of those into my diet. And as you know, we're going to have the legend himself, Colin Campbell, who has got his program Whole Food Plant-Based Nutrition at Cornell University. I highly suggest you look that up. I'll leave a link in the liner notes to it. It's a course I took, which was incredibly enlightening. I learned so much, not just about the whole food plant-based movement, but also about research and a deep diving understanding of how food can truly be your medicine. We learned about the problems with the animal protein, and I want to just give you some of those highlights because I think it's important that we highlight some of that here right now. And I highly recommend you read the incredible bestseller from Colin Campbell called The China Study. It was definitely an eye-opener and a game changer for me. And this was a little thing that I put together, which was the top 10 reasons why not to be a meathead, according to Archie Bunker. I hope you like my little bit of a humor there, and I hope I didn't date myself too much. But number one is an increase in the animal protein over a 10% threshold showed a dramatic increase in cancer, heart disease, and diabetes, and this was part of the China study. Number two, the animal protein, the red meat in particular, is a critical source of acidosis in the body and can easily challenge your pH balance, and thus can obviously challenge your bone health if you screw up with your potentiated hydrogen, your acid-alkaline pH balance. Number three, the animal protein can contain up to 44 times more phosphorus than calcium, so it could be a shock to your kidneys. And anytime that you lower or disrupt kidney function, it can lead to another problem where you could end up with a lot of junk left in the blood because the job of the kidneys is to filter the blood. Number four, it can promote oxidation of the cells. It can literally rust the cells, and this can play havoc with cell membrane integrity and permeability, and thus making it susceptible to invaders like bacteria, virus, or even parasites. And number five, in excess of 20% consumption of your total dietary caloric intake as animal protein, This, in many studies, showed through epigenetics that it can turn on or express unhealthy genes in the DNA sequence. The Human Genome Project actually showed that your gene deck contained up to 35% virus genes, or what they call junk genes. Number 6, the animal compounds found in animal protein are very carcinogenic in nature, and cooking the meat at a high heat can create even more carcinogenic chemicals, and carcinogens are proven to be cancer-causing. Now, number 7, the bacteria content in the animal protein can be very high, in some reports as high as 33%. And cooking the animal protein can cause a liberation of the bugs, if you will, into the bloodstream. Number 8, tag-along toxins like pesticides, growth hormones, and antibiotics are definitely hard to clear out of the body and are cumulative in the body fat over time. That's why if we do a hardcore detoxification without a good solid understanding of biology and the human body, that you'll release these toxins into the body and you're going to feel like a dog's breakfast. It's not the best way to do a detoxification. Number 9, an increase in saturated fats like those found in animal protein across the board is correlated with higher rates of disease across the board. And number 10, animals are a lower mammalian life form. So from a quantum physics point of view, its consumption can never hope to raise the cellular vibration of a human organ or gland. So those are some of the reasons why you may want to change to a more whole food, plant-based diet. Now, what do and what are those sources of protein? Well, I'm going to give you some of my favorites. First is seitan. And seitan is spelled S-E-I-T-A-N. And this is a very, very popular protein source, and it's made from gluten. Now, of course, if you're gluten sensitive, obviously you're not going to include this as part of your diet. And, of course, this is the main protein in wheat. But unlike many of the soy-based mock meats, it resembles and looks very much like meat when it's cooked. In fact, it's one of my favorites from that point of view. But again, you have to make sure that you've got your digestive synthesis really on point here before you're going to start to consume products made with high contents of gluten. So this is also a very powerful meat substitute because it contains 25 grams of protein for every 100 grams of seitan, which makes it one of the richest plant-based sources on the list here. Now, it's also very rich in other trace minerals like selenium, and it contains a small amount of iron, calcium, and phosphorus as well. And this guy can be grilled and pan-fried and can be easily incorporated into many recipes because it looks and tastes very much like meat. Number 2, the two that you're probably very familiar with, tofu and tempeh. Now, these are soybean-based proteins. They provide the body with all of the essential amino acids it needs. Now, the tofu is made from bean curds pressed together in a process which is similar to cheese making. Tempeh is made by cooking and slightly fermenting the mature soybeans prior to the pressing to make them into patties. Now, they don't have a lot of taste, so you really have to marinate them in advance, but they also provide a lot of protein, 10 to 20 grams of protein for every 100 grams of the tempeh and the tofu. So they are very, very easy to use. And they come in a lot of different densities, so they're very, very versatile. Lentils is very powerful. They can be used in a variety of dishes, from salads to hearty soups, and of course in dals as well. And they are very powerful because a single cup of this guy can also give you 50% of your recommended daily fiber intake. So they are very, very powerful. And they are very, very rich in protein as well. And also, they have a lot of other great minerals attached to them, like folate, manganese, and also small amounts of iron as well. And of course, they're another good source of antioxidants. So a wonderful protein source is the lentils. Next is chickpeas. Now, I love chickpeas because I makes them to one of my favorite foods, which is the hummus. And hummus is just an incredible food because it's so versatile and so easy to make. And there are many great recipes that you can get online. And I have a couple of them over at my website at bgangel.com. You just key in the search menu and take a look at Nutrition That Really Works, my live food show. I'll be making more announcements about that shortly, but I have some recipes there on my hummus as well. And so chickpeas, very great source of protein, and they provide about 15 grams of protein per 1 cup of chickpeas. Next is the nutritional yeast. This is the Saccharomyces cerevisiae yeast, and it's sold commercially. It's this yellowy, flaky powder. It has a really rich, cheesy flavor, and boy, you can incorporate this into a lot of dishes, for everything from literally from mashed potatoes to scrambled tofu, a topping on popcorn, and it is very, very powerful. In fact, you know what? This guy is a really amazing source of protein. It's a truly complete source of plant protein, providing the body with 14 grams of protein per serving, 7 grams of fiber. So, wow, really, really amazing source. And this is super rich in B vitamins and an amazing source of zinc, magnesium, and copper. So you're going to really like the nutritional yeast flakes. Extremely versatile. Spelt and teff, again, these are types of wheat. They do contain gluten, and these are originally from the annual grasses. Now, spelt and teff belong to a category known as ancient grains, and that includes the other grains like the einkorn, the barley, sorghum, and farro. But the spelt is a type of wheat that contains gluten, whereas teff originates from the annual grasses, which means it's gluten-free. They're both excellent sources of protein, but they also contain complex carbs, fiber, iron, phosphorus, manganese, and they're good sources also of the B vitamins, zinc, and selenium. And of course, they're extremely versatile because we can use them from everything from baking goods to polentas to risottos. And so I obviously use a lot of those guys in my dietary regime. Hemp seeds. This guy is obviously one of the biggest players on the block. It is very well known, contains 10 grams of complete, easily digested protein per ounce every 28 grams. So that's 50% more than chia seeds and flax seeds. So very, very powerful. Hemp seeds can be made into bars. They can be put into cereal. You can put them into your smoothie. Very easy to get these guys into the diet. Great source of protein. Green peas, another great source of protein. Of course, I like the ones that are organic, okay, to keep them nice and super clean. Peas are great for made into a protein powder. They're a great source of iron, magnesium, phosphorus, zinc, copper. And it's because of its high protein source and clean source of protein that you see many of the protein powders are made with the peas. The spirulina, the blue-green algae, an incredibly powerful and potent protein source. I bet you didn't know that. But of course, you can't eat too much of it, otherwise known as the blue-green algae. But definitely as a supplement to bring it into the body, this dark green powder is a nutritional powerhouse containing tons of vitamins, minerals, and nutrients, and an incredible protein source. In fact, 2 tablespoons get you 8 grams of complete protein, so a super source. Definitely include that as part of your armamentarium as well. And of course, last but certainly not least, is the amaranth and the quinoa. Of course, I think we don't need to really say too much about it. Great sources of protein, super popular all around the world. Definitely include those guys. Quinoa, so easy to make. You can fall off a log making quinoa, and a great alternative source for super, super clean protein. So those are my top 10. Just to give you a little bit of details here, okay, per half cup serving, this is the information I'm going to provide for you, is per half cup serving. This is the amount of protein for hemp seeds as a complete protein source. 40 grams of protein per half a cup. Wow. Flaxseed whole have to be bruised in order for it to release its nutrients. 40 grams as well. Pumpkin seeds, 34 grams per half cup serving. Incredible. How about the nuts? Walnuts, 30 grams. Pistachios, 26 grams. Brazil nuts, 21 grams. The lentils, 8.5 grams. The yellow beans, 8 grams. Kidney beans, about 7.5 grams of protein per half cup serving. The miso, another fermented soy product, 16 grams per half a cup of serving of miso, another complete source of all of the amino acids. And of course, oats, 19, almost 20 grams. The buckwheat, another great source of sulfur-based amino acids, almost 15 grams of protein per half cup servings. And of course, one of my amazing secrets is you've got to include more mushrooms into your diet. For example, dried shiitake mushrooms, easy to get into the diet, great for a vegetarian and vegan diet, 11 grams of protein in a half a cup of servings. And you know what? It's interesting. The Canadian RDA recommended daily allowance of protein for somebody who is 150 pounds is only 54 grams of protein a day. So every time you hear you have to eat meat, and more protein. Generally, that's probably not the case. Most of the protein gets recycled back through the body, so you actually can give the protein wagon a little bit of a break. You're going to love how much you feel. I hope that you incorporate some of these amazing vegetarian, vegan sources of protein into your diet and lower some of the animal protein that you've been consuming, and maybe even change up some of those animal protein sources. I think it's going to do your body good, and you can consider this truly nutrition that really, really works. I hope I've been able to present this podcast in a very even-handed fashion for you. I hope I don't get too much email flack about it. Flack, get it? But at the end of the day, I think it was important to deliver this incredible podcast on whole food, plant-based sources of protein, and I hope that you would enjoy it. Now, you really want to come on out to our incredible blockbuster event on April 30th, May 1, 2, and 3, 2020. It's our National Conference of Traditional Medicine featuring the legends of health, and we're going to have two of the giants from the whole food plant-based movement. Of course, the legendary Brian and Anna Maria Clement from the Hippocrates Health Institute will be live in person, and the legend himself, Colin Campbell, author of the book Whole, and of course, one of the most popular selling books in the world, The China Study. He will be in person doing a number of lectures and workshops and meet and greets for us at the National Conference of Traditional Healing on April 30th, May 1, 2, and 3. And you can get your tickets over at eventbrite.com and just key into the search menu, Legends of Health. And until next time, I'm Brian Gangle, your nutrition expert from bgangel.com, wishing blessings to you all until we meet again. And let's let food be thy medicine. Bye for now.